Now we are.
Okay, great. Well, I'm Mark Land, Commissioner for Fire District 4, one of them, and just want to welcome everybody to our regular board meeting. I want to apologize in advance. This is the first time I'm going to be chairing a regular meeting like this, so you're probably used to a certain way the chair goes through the agenda. So if I'm a little bit different or rough around the edges, I'll rely on everybody to help keep me between the lines of what you're used to. I do think, though, one thing I remember is we go around the room and just introduce ourselves so that everybody else who's might be watching or might watch later knows who's who in the zoo. So yeah, who would like to introduce themselves next?
Harry Andrews, District 4 Commissioner.
Chris Parks, District 4 Administrator.
Jason Vanderveen, Fire Chief.
All right, thank you. So we have a quorum, Harry and I. It looks like, so Chris, do you traditionally just introduce the, under public comment here, just the reason why we're having a Zoom meeting?
I can read it out loud. The public comment due to the Governor Inslee's Proclamation 2028, District 4 is prohibited from providing a location for the public to attend this meeting, and members of the public will be able to hear the entire meeting via Zoom meeting on the website. And yeah, it's recorded also.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the next item is the consent agenda, and I guess I would just like to highlight what's included in the consent agenda for the record. The meeting minutes, which include the April 5th special board meeting, the April 14th regular board meeting, and the April 19th special board meeting. Harry, unless there's anything that you'd like to pull out of there and discuss, would you'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
And I second. It's been moved and seconded that the consent agenda be adopted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Staff reports.
Oh, can I?
Yes, Chris.
The staff reports are included in the consent agenda, as well as the financial reports and the vouchers. So.
And I'm seeing that now. So yes, to just, Harry, if it's okay with you, I'm just gonna read off what else is included in the consent agenda. That would have been the staff reports, financial reports, and the vouchers, the direct deposit payroll specifically at 8218.83, and the expenditure voucher at 8748.31. So I would feel that unless I hear otherwise, there's unanimous consent that that would be included in the consent agenda. All right, thanks for catching that, Chris. Sorry, I just kind of blew through that. That's why I apologized in advance. All right, unfinished business. The first item of unfinished business is the ILA, the interlocal agreement between the City of Bellingham and Fire District 4 concerning the use of the Britton Loop Fire Training Facility. Does anybody else have anything else on that? Any other additional work or information that you know they'd like to bring up and discuss since the last time it came up?
Our legal counsel, Joe Quinn, he reviewed the agreement, and I worked with him on it and pointed out some items, and he sent both commissioners information through me, and you just have to make a decision today if you would like to make any changes or addendum to the training tower and the use of the meeting room with the days and.
Right.
So.
Chief, do you have, I mean, I've got some thoughts on just maybe how to move forward, but I don't want to jump the gun in case you've got maybe more insight on this than Harry or I would.
I don't. I haven't seen what was recommended. I was actually a little surprised to see it come back from the city of Bellingham signed.
Yeah,
I thought it was just going for approval, and we were still
Right.
on kind of the back and forth. So I don't know what Mr. Quinn recommended versus what, is there something, could you sign it now and get the financial ball rolling and then go back and MOU or do an amendment or in addition to if it's just minor language changes that Mr. Quinn is concerned about, that might be a better way to do it. But
well, yeah, and that's a good catch. That was actually one of the things that that Joe pointed out as well, was that, wow, it came back pretty fast and it was all signed, and he thought that was unusual as well. My thoughts, again, kind of looking at this from a different perspective now, I guess my approach to something like this would be that Chris would essentially come up with some of her, from her perspective as administrating, this facility. I think her input on scheduling and more of a reasonable rate window and what that rate window would include. Because I think we would want to be sure that whatever kind of scheduling or building availability we agreed to in a contract like this, it still left room for other users, to schedule it. We wouldn't want to lock ourselves, I think, too tightly into, Bellingham, although I think it would be great if they were a majority user. So I think, maybe if she could come up with that kind of thing, and then some of what her check boxes would be from the building management side, and Jason, I guess maybe if you had some specific criteria that you felt was important, and then I think once that information was fleshed out and we were all kind of on the same page, then maybe me or Harry, could sit down with, and I hate to redo some of the wheel, but I'm kind of starting a little bit from scratch here, and maybe, Jason, you and I could sit down with Bill, or Jason and Harry could sit down with Bill, and we have a little bit more thoughtful approach as to, we understand that these might be your needs. These are our needs. This is what we think now, it might cost something in this range. And then maybe we go forward from there. I don't want to roll that wheel back too far, but I guess those are sort of my thoughts as to how I would approach something like this. So I'm just kicking that around. Not that that's what we're going to do. I'm just, ideas. What do you guys think?
Well, Mark, I'd like to make a comment on Chris's ability to do all of the scheduling. She's been doing that for quite some time. So, and she's doing a good job of that. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. The parameters of what they are allowed to do and are not allowed to do, that's a different story.
And yeah, if you want to, I don't know. We'd have to go back to Chief Hewitt and discuss, obviously if you're interested in some financial changes to that. That was an agreement that had been worked out previously. So we'd have to, go back and chat with him. And I'm completely happy to do that if that's, something the board desires to do.
Well, the last time I remember talking about this, it seemed that the contract that they were agreeing to, there was still a bit of separation on what maybe, the fair cost of what they were getting and what they had already agreed to. And I guess I just want to make sure that, as a fiduciary of the District 4 customers' tax
Right.
dollar, I don't want to be given anything away that the city of Bellingham shouldn't be fairly paying for. But at the same time, we want to partner with them.
Right.
But it just needs to be fair for everybody.
I think with with a change in leadership, that it would be good for you and I to go sit down with Chief Hewitt and have you hear the same thing that that Commissioner Hanson had heard before, and so you can see kind of how they arrive at those numbers, and whether that's you and I, or you and I and Ms. Parks, however you want to do that, so that once again, transparency, so that everybody's on the same page and we can hear. I guess not to put on too much of a Bellingham hat, but cities are having to respond a little differently than districts are with the COVID thing. I mean, with the way sales taxes, they've taken a little hit, and so I think there's a knowledge that we need to get to a different number at some point. 2021 may not be that year. The first year of the agreement. Now, I will honestly say that I don't have enough intergovernmental negotiation experience to know, are we setting ourselves off too short to ever be able to make up that difference? And that would be something maybe I would lean a little bit more on you to help me kind of understand. Are we starting off too small to get to where we need to be?
Yeah. No, well said. And before I volunteer to do that, Harry, is that something that you would be interested in, or you want me to do that?
I'd like you to do that.
Okay, fair enough.
Make that a Monday meeting.
Yeah, exactly. So let's then leave it at this, maybe. How about between now and whenever it seems to be an appropriate time to sit down with Bill Hewitt, Jason and Chris, and whoever else needs to, support getting us the points that we need to cover and talk about. I'll kind of leave that up to you guys. And when you say that we're ready to, talk about the details of this contract, then, get a hold of me, and then we'll just sit down with Chief Hewitt and see where we go.
Okay,
Great.
sounds good.
Does that sound fair, Harry?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I get a copy of Mr. Quinn's comments just so I know, so I can give Chief Hewitt some idea of what we're looking for, or what we're going to discuss?
I will send you information over. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks for all that. Good discussion. Okay, so the DHS Air and Marine proposal for tower modification update. I don't know who's got the update. It's not me.
Do you have anything new, Jason?
I have not heard from him since Commissioner Land. You kind of gave him the green light to go ahead, and I think we're waiting to hear the scheduling for the beginning of the engineering studies. That's really going to be the next piece.
Okay.
So
yeah, and I jumped in there kind of late in the game because it felt he was not sure, right, if he had a firm commitment, before they started spending money and hiring people. So yeah, just to fill everybody in, I think it was a phone call, or maybe it was an email too, but I essentially said, yeah, it's my understanding at that time the board had fully supported them moving forward. So I just reaffirmed that with him and gave him the green light, whatever he needed to, start spending money, their money, not ours. All right. Open fire commissioner position. Probably deja vu all over again for you guys. Chris, do you have a kind of a timeline for that? I guess my thoughts just to start the discussion would be that, we're advertising, and maybe today we can set, like, this is the deadline to accept applications. And then between that deadline and maybe our next regular board meeting, we could hopefully, interview people if we have hopefully people to interview, like you did last time. And then maybe, this time next month, Harry and I would probably have an executive session to talk about people's qualifications and whatnot. Does that sound reasonable? Is that normally what you would do?
We have 90 days to find a fire commissioner. So I contacted the Bellingham Herald and they will run an ad twice, one time this week, one time next week. And I put the deadline of May 23rd on it, which can be extended if nobody is interested. I put a link on our website and also in our reader board in the front entrance. And as soon
Okay.
as applications come in, I will let the board know and go from there.
Okay, so May 23rd, that's 10 days from today. And then you think that would give us time to review them, interview them, and then have some kind of, informed discussion by our next monthly meeting?
No, hopefully, yeah.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Does that sound okay to you, Harry?
Yeah, it does. And I was just wondering, is Mrs. Chumley still interested? Do you know anything about that, Chris?
No, I would not contact her without, your direction.
That was just an idea that if possibly
If you want
we
me
don't
to, I
get
can go
anybody,
ahead.
we can bring up the other two that we interviewed before. If they are still interested, I have a question about one of them though, which I can't discuss here.
Okay. How does the timeline though sound to you, Harry? Does that sound like, a reasonable, that we should shoot for basically our next monthly board meeting to kind of hope to have a decision?
That seems just a little bit tight, but it may work, no problem.
I agree with you. I mean, it does seem like we'd have to do a lot in a short period of time. Maybe we'd still be within that 90 days if we weren't able to fill it until the following monthly meeting. I guess that'd be the July meeting. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
Okay,
depends
well-
how many people apply for the position. If nobody applies by the 23rd, then we have to extend it.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
guess I'd like to say I'm prepared to extend the deadline just to, maybe give our applicant pool a little bit, bigger opportunity, but maybe we cross that bridge when we get to the deadline.
Okay, sounds good.
Have we approached the union and see if they have any people that would be interested?
No, I didn't approach.
I haven't.
I usually don't.
Okay.
That might be an option, that we could address. And I think it's always good to have a union rep on the board. He takes on a different light on things as they are happening.
Sure. Yeah, good idea. Maybe if anybody out there's listening, we'd love your interest in your application. Go through the process. Okay, anything else on that? If not, we can move on to new business. Information on plans for 2022. I guess before I forget, we had a pretty significant special board meeting just a couple of days ago. I've had a couple of reporters reach out to me. I'm yet to actually have an interview with them, one from the Northern Light, one from the Linden Tribune. I'm actually thinking, Chris, I'm going to have a couple hours traveling tomorrow where I might have a good opportunity to make some phone calls. So I'm just kind of spitballing here, but I'm thinking I might ask them to contact you. And if you could even coordinate the two of them to have a phone call with me at the same time, might kill two birds with one stone and, be efficient with everybody's time. So I'll try to remember to do that after this meeting, send you their info.
Okay.
But Jason, I guess I'd ask you from your perspective, I can't even imagine, you get lots of feedback from stakeholders and from all sorts of different directions. Are you hearing anything, related to the special meeting we had on Tuesday and just kind of how that's playing out?
What I'm hearing is that people are glad that we're going to solidify and make permanent, or we're on a path to make permanent the service level across the entire district, that North Whatcom covers, both in 21 and 4. And that's to the troops on the ground. That's the most exciting thing, is that it appears that we're moving forward. We're going to work together, and we're going to keep these, like I said, the service levels permanent in both districts. And there was a lot of concern about what's going to happen. We've got letters flying back and forth and deadlines and, get outs and leaves and all these other things, rumors that hit the floor. And now they can see that, okay, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And we know it's been good. And, at times it's been hard, but this is what we do. This is what we like to do. And now we're going to be able to continue doing it. I think it's kind of been a sigh of relief for everybody. There's always the questions, what's going to happen and how's it, some guys want to know the gory details, but for the most part, it's been okay, good. We're working together. Things are back on track, and the future looks bright.
Good. Yeah. Really, really glad to hear that. I think, and then, so from my perspective, and everything you said it well. And then as it goes through, the governance ears, what I hear is people seem happy, glad, relieved, and assured that we're back on the road to stability and consistency and predictability and a unified message. Because that part of it was, clearly important to me. So, you said it from kind of the chief administrator operations, side of it. And then that's kind of, how I would relate, what you just said. So, did I capture that?
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is the long game, which is the RFA. And that is forming, that is the beginning of hopefully, more consolidation, more working together in the countywide, not just our two districts, but that this is really the start of bringing together the fire service and knocking down more walls and providing consistent levels of service across many areas of Whatcom County, not just our two districts. And,
right.
With what it appears other districts are doing with levy rates, and things are, like I talked about in our special meeting, everything is kind of coming together around the city. So kind of in the outskirts of Bellingham, and we're seeing that the citizens want a certain level of service, and we're going to ask them to pay for those consistent levels of service. And I think it's good. It's a good future for the fire service and emergency services in Whatcom County.
Yeah.
Has that news release been published yet? That was very good.
It has been picked up, and one of the articles, or excuse me, one of the media outlets, Linden Tribune, wanted to talk to Commissioner Land and I believe Commissioner Ansel from District 21 before he published anything, but his the tone in his email was positive, and yeah, I just wanted to get some further details.
Now, I thought it was a very good one, and it laid out exactly what we're attempting to do here, and that would be good information for the public.
And just so everyone's aware, Commissioner Land had asked me about kind of the distribution list, and I made sure that KGMI was on there. We additionally added KGMI and also an outlet called Whatcom News, which is an all online newspaper. I reviewed them several times and had interactions with the editor there on several incidents, and super nice gentleman, and is just putting out Whatcom County wide news that maybe is not getting covered in the bigger Bellingham media outlets.
Harry, are you okay with me sort of, making these statements and representing our district and board in the press, like I found myself in a position to do here this past week, like between now and next meeting? I mean, do I have your, consent and support to, continue to kind of play that role?
Absolutely. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. No, that's good to hear. Thanks for your vote of confidence. Okay. And thanks for being willing to share some of that, Chief. That's helpful, and it's very encouraging to know that that our stakeholders are breathing a sigh of relief. Would now be the time to talk about just sort of the levy rate, the timeline and deadlines, and all the things we need to do. Chief Ansel had emailed me some kind of a matrix. I don't have it in front of me, and if I tried to pull it up, I might lose my video. Do you happen to have that, Jason?
I do. 1 second here. Just one correction. It's Commissioner Ansel. I'm the chief.
What did I say?
You said chief.
Oh,
Although there's
sorry.
days I would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Are you okay if I share my screen here real quick?
Uh-oh,
Please.
what happened? No,
You okay, Chris? You got it?
I think I lost you unless you put something different. I was just printing a copy for Mark and myself, but I think I lost you guys now.
Nope, you're here. I can
We see you. We see and hear you.
Oh, I can see you. So I'm gonna go bring you a copy real quick.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we can still see and hear you.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I can't see you, but that's good. That's okay.
Okay. I can see it. Is there a way to enlarge that, Jason?
Yes, sorry.
In case anybody out there in Zoom land is watching or wants to see it?
Zoom land.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so I think we heard Chris say that she's actually dropped the levy resolution. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes, I did. The explanatory statement, the cover sheet, and the resolution this morning. I just have to
Okay.
email them some items, but they will go ahead and contact me today or tomorrow.
Okay, May 14th, tomorrow, that's our last day to have pro and con committees. I guess I'll just throw it out there again. Anybody watching, please, if you're interested in being heard and want to be part of the process, whether you'd like to be part of the pro committee or con committee, please reach out to Chris so we can get your input. Do we have anybody yet, Chris, that's on either pro or con that's contacted us?
And no, we don't. And the elections office, they told me that they will make a post on their website. And I don't know if they do it in the media to look for pro and con committee. They did so for Fire District 16 Dutay, and I shared that information with you
Yeah,
because they didn't have one either, so. And if we find people, they have to be, we have to have another special meeting to, appoint them.
okay.
Have to keep that in mind too.
So with tomorrow being the deadline, have we done our due diligence, all the different things we were required to do to find those committee members?
Yes, we have, and I had to write up a little statement for the elections office, and she asked me today just to send in a screenshot, like from the website, or provide her with a copy of the meeting minutes where we mentioned that we were actually looking for people actively, and the post I have in the reader board in the front. So we did.
So I think in summary, we've done everything we've needed to do for tomorrow's deadline.
Yes,
Okay, the next deadline is May 19th. Committee statements must be filed with the auditor by 4:30. But if we don't have pro and con committee members, that's a moot point. Am I right?
yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Is that the same with rebuttal statements?
Yes, if we have no original statements, then. yes,
Okay. So
we're good.
essentially, if we still don't have pro or con committees, we've met all of our requirements until the actual August 3rd election.
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, I'm glad we walked through that. That's good to know. Chief, and I won't refer you to you as, commissioner. Is there anything on there that you wanted to highlight, or anything else that, from your perspective is, trying to manage, or not necessarily manage both of these, but just, you've got both of them in front of you because of the two districts.
Right.
Anything else that, you want us to be aware of or we need to do?
It would be good to have a pro committee. I mean, obviously you want both pro and con, but I guess the next big thing to consider is, as we get closer, is does District 4 want to possibly file a resolution for levy lid lift at the general election, the November one, in case that the August lid lift does not pass? And would that, just as a fail safe, right? Give you a few more months to go out and educate the voters, give you time to maybe hunt more for a pro and con committee so that things appear more, there's more in the voters pamphlet. But I think that's going to be the next big consideration is, do we want to do this exercise again? And I believe that at District 21, we are going to do that just to be safe.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's, I'm glad you highlighted that, because you're right. And the context of all this, of course, is once we form the RFA, or hopefully the voters will approve that next year, it's the same rate.
Yep.
And so if that's the context, that's the levy rate lens we're looking through. It would be really disappointing if the voters did not approve that in August. But, we'll do what they tell us to do. And if that's whatever money we have to work with, the message is going to be clear.
Yep.
Whether it's in August or November or both. So we'll just, we'll hopefully have a good message, and they'll understand, why we're asking for that.
Right.
All right. I don't have anything else on that. It sounds like we're on track and we've done everything we needed to do. Harry, do you have any input on that?
No, not really. I've noticed other election things that we have been involved with in the past. And getting a pro and a con committee is very difficult.
Okay. Okay, well, I think that's that. Thanks for putting that up on the screen, Chief. Do we have any other new business or anything else under information on plans for 2022? Okay, correspondence, I see there's nothing at this time. Announcements. Filing week is next week, starting Monday. My notes here say that all 3 positions are up for election. So what happens? Clearly, we're not going to get to appoint somebody to fill the vacancy before filing week. So filing week comes and goes. We end up appointing somebody in, a month or 2. How does that affect the length of their term?
That, I believe their term ends on November 23rd. And if they don't run, they cannot fill the remaining time.
So then we would have another vacancy right off the bat?
Potentially. Yeah.
If we can find anybody, the county will appoint a fire commissioner,
Right.
or 2, depending.
Okay. Well, on that happy note, anything else for the good of the order? Any other new business, old business? I've got the next board meeting at June 10th. Does that still work for everybody?
Yes.
Works for me.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for your time today. And yeah, if there's nothing else, could I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Seconded. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn today's board meeting. All those in favor say aye.
I.
Aye. Motion carries and we are adjourned. Thanks again, everybody.